That's right. We are gearing up for a big Friday night showdown against Western Michigan. So I guess we should finally learn about who these Broncos are. And we do it with Ben Epstein, editor in chief of the Western Herald. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy another day in game week, everyone. Happy blessed day. We are so close to Michigan State football kicking off, but for this episode, enough about our Spartans for a hot second. We're going to get to know that team from Kalamazoo traveling in, and no one better to share their knowledge than the editor-in-chief of the Western Herald, Western Michigan student newspaper, Ben Epstein. How on earth are you doing, Ben? You doing okay on this great game week?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to get some football back. I think we've all been itching for that college football, and I think we're all excited. So I'm juiced to talk about this. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining. I love having, students from the local newspaper because you guys are at all the practices. You've been, on this team from the beginning of the offseason, and we got a lot of questions because, well, I think Western has a lot of questions as they go into the season. But before we get to any of that, just quick little overview. Okay, last season, Western Michigan 8-5, 4-4 in conference, absolutely smashed Nevada in the Quick Lane Bowl. But what right now is the state of the program at Western Michigan? Are people happy with Tim Lester as he heads towards his sixth season? Or what's the general vibe amongst Bronco Nation like?
Sections of fans that have their opinions on Tim Lester. There's the side that we're never going to repeat our undefeated season, that undefeated regular season. I wouldn't say call it a fluke, but we had a special team there. Corey Davis is such a special player. There are a lot of people that are really reality based. The 8-5 is good. In my personal, I'm more based in that where I don't hate Tim Lester, but I think there was room to grow. We dropped here. We had leads, and I think the Nevada win, as great as it is, it's our first bowl win in history of the school. It's not as impressive because they didn't have their starter. I think we're all happy about that. And then there's the section of fans that just what we did in 2016. So I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. I'm expecting undefeated seasons, but I think the fan base is very split right now.
Understandably so. And look, who wouldn't want to taste that success that you guys had in 2016, right? I mean, that's always going to be something that you're forever chasing. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look like 2022 will be another undefeated season for Western Michigan because week 1 against the Spartans, betonline.net has your Broncos at 20-point underdogs. I don't know if you're a big, lines guy or anything like that, but when you hear 20-point underdogs, what's your first reaction to that? Are you feeling like, yeah, that sounds about right? Or is there a chance that Western can be a sneaky underdog team this Friday in East Lansing?
20 points sounds just about right. This is like, if I'm being completely honest about this, Western, this is my senior year of college, and it's probably the most the we've had on the roster, and we have a ton of inexperience going into new positions. So, I don't remember when I covered the game 2 years ago when we played you guys in East Lansing, pretty much tightly contested for the first 2 quarters. I don't even know if we'd see something like that this time around. Mounted roster. So I think 20 points is a great estimate, and it might be more.
Gotcha. You know what? Speaking of more, how about this for a transition right now? Let's just start getting into the offense because, well, yeah, obviously you guys had talent last year, and one of those major pieces was Sky Moore. How about that for a segue? You like that? Now he's with the Chiefs. He's not with the Broncos anymore, but what weapons on offense are still around for Western Michigan that should have us Michigan State fans maybe a little spooked for this Friday?
I think the main 2 people you have to worry about are Sean Tyler and Ladarius Jefferson.
Okay.
In my opinion, a top 10 duo. They both rush for on or over in near 1,000 yards. When I talked to Tim Lester about a month or two ago, he knows that we've lost, Scott receiving core, so he knows that we're going to have to, play that more ground and pound and grit kind of football going forward. Two dangerous weapons. Sean Tyler is one of the fastest players I've seen on the field. He's outside the tackles and can really, split away defenders downfield. And then the third down back, red zone threat, where you're going to see him try and punch in something in the red zone. He's going to have the ball in his hands. Ladarius used to be on the Michigan State roster, and then and he's had a lot of success here in the Broncos for the Broncos. So I think definitely running back, and then receiving wise, we've got Corey Crooms and Jalen Hall. Moore's complimentary wide receiver last year. And he did some damage when Sky was getting doubled. Ellaby was able to hit him pretty well. And then Jalen, he's 6'4", very physical wide receiver. Can beat you down, huge target in the red zone. But yeah, those are the main threats. I think if you were to be scared, it would be them.
And I'm glad you brought up Ladarius Jefferson because obviously, the old friend of the Michigan State program. We had to get to him. So I'm glad, we're kind of kicking off the show with talking about good old Ladarius. And of course, just like you said, he's paired with Sean Tyler. So is this like a lightning and thunder situation where one guy is, the quick jitterbug, if you will, and the other guy just brings the rumble? Or what are their running styles like? Are they similar? Are they different? How do you differentiate the two running backs?
Yeah, that's absolutely how I would describe it. I think right as well. He's super talented. Ladarius is more of the bruiser, the numbers guy, in between the tackles. He'll get you those nitty gritty yards, and then Sean's just and if he gets to that second level, he's usually taken off.
Right on. Well, there you go. And also too, how about the guy handing the ball off to both of these guys? It was just announced not too long ago that Jack Salopek, if I'm saying that name right, you can check me on that if I totally butchered that last name, but he is the starting quarterback this year, and he has thrown 5 passes in college. Is there anything you can tell us about him? Like, do you know anything about this guy, or is he as big of a mystery as he is to me?
I absolutely this guy. I'm about as scared as every Western fan could be right now. The guy only had his face. And then I watched him in the spring game. This obviously a few months ago, and ultimately the most accurate quarterback there. He had some good plays. Hit a great slant route in the end zone. He just doesn't have that arm talent that you'd expect out of a high level quarterback. And I don't think the deep threat is as much of a threat as it was maybe last year with Caleb Ellaby. Yeah, what I know about him is he's pretty accurate. He has some runability. Like, he's on a tiny bit. I don't imagine they'd have him doing that too much during the game, but we'll see. But experienced, as you said, doesn't have a ton of run time, so it's going to be very interesting to see how he plays next.
See, look at that. And we are not done talking about the offense. Of course, we're going to get to the defense. Heck, I might even ask you a punting and kicking question here in a hot second. But Ben, I just got to say goodbye to you for a hot second because I got to talk everyone's ear off about BetOnline.net. We already said it. Michigan State on BetOnline right now is 20-point favorites. If you're feeling good about that bet, walk on over to BetOnline.net. Also, too, Purdue is hosting Penn State. I'm going to be glued to that game. I do love Purdue +3 as home underdogs. But, hey, look, there's plenty of other games you can bet on in Week 1, and BetOnline has you covered because they are the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for your odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, and even esports. How about that? That's right. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering and information from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. Point blank, guys, they got you covered, top to bottom. So head to BetOnline today. Use your mobile device. Learn more about the trends and actions happening today. Once again, that's at BetOnline where the game starts. And as we start this second segment, hey, just want to thank you so much for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day, as we are just this close to kickoff, Ben. This close to kickoff. We have finally made it. So,
Yeah.
God, this is so exciting. What a time to be alive, Ben. Vibes have never been higher over here. This is the best. Oh, I cannot wait to crack open 48 beers on a Breslin Center parking lot to watch some college kids play football, because that's how we roll around here. Let's talk about what will be brought up no less than 47 times during the broadcast on Friday night. Hey, the offensive coordinator for Western is the quarterback of Michigan State's father. This is insane. Oh my God, this is nuts. Actually, that is kind of crazy. That really doesn't happen a lot, but I'm already tired of that storyline. So let's talk about it some more. Any indication of what's going to change on offense with Jeff Thorne taking over as offensive coordinator, or are they doing a good job of keeping it under wraps in Kalamazoo right now?
I haven't heard too much. When I talked to Tim, he didn't give me too much. I know Jeff in his own right is a very accomplished coach, incredibly smart, incredibly, they're complex. They're great. They open up holes usually for running back. He's got some great passing concepts. And obviously with developing his son into such a great, I'm so he can elevate the abilities of Jack. Haven't heard anything too much on specifics, but I'm encouraged by, the hiring in general.
And so opening holes for the running backs, obviously, big, important task, but this is also a big challenge for Jeff Thorne. Maybe, I just want your thoughts on this, because if I'm understanding this correctly, Western Michigan is replacing both their starting tackles from last year and their starting center, I believe. And if so, is that as big of a deal going in as it sounds like, or do you and the coaching staff and everyone else feel pretty okay actually with where the offensive line stands going into the season?
My lack of experience from the replacements. They haven't named exactly who the starters are going to be, but a ton of redshirt sophomores and freshmen that are probably going to be up for those positions. Don't worry me too much in that fact, though, because we have a great offensive line coach, and we have a proven draft in the last 5, 6, 7 years of just churning out really solid offense. So I'm really encouraged by the fact that we have that history behind us, and I think maybe stumble out of the gate. But this is a group and that has a high talent level. I feel like it won't be as big of a deal as it may be for other teams with the lack of experience.
So in total, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you couldn't feel worse about a unit in your entire life, and 10, oh my God, we got, the reincarnate of the Kansas City Chiefs on our team. What's your optimism like for the offense going into the 2022 season at Western Michigan?
If I had to give it a rating 1 to 10, we have good running backs. We have solid quarterbacks. Situation really scares me. And the offensive line is, just like you said, a question mark. Any higher than a 6. I think I have someone to learn on the go. And I think he's got the people that Tim has hired over the past couple months. They're all very experienced people with great track records. So potential there. And I think the 6 maybe is a little higher than you expected, just because that running back duo, really, they're both super talented, could be playing at Power 5 programs, in my opinion. They was at one. So I think it's a solid unit, but really where it's all decided.
Gotcha. And just for the defensive side, I'll just start the defensive breakdown of this with the same question. Like, how are you feeling about the defense on a scale of 1 to 10? Obviously, 1, you're not feeling great. 10, Bronco fans should feel extraordinary about their defense. Where are you rating the defense now to flip sides of the ball?
I'd rate it about the same thing. You're losing a lot of big name players on defensive line. Since there. But when talking to Tim Lester, he told me that he thinks this is since he's been here. And that was really a moving statement from him. If he really believes that, then put a little bit on that. There's a lot of talent up and down this defense, though. So it's just, again, but I think it has more potential than the offense to be a higher rating by the end of it.
Gotcha. And so what, in your opinion, do you think is going to be like the rock of this defense, whether it be a position group or just what they defend well, whether it be the pass or the run, or what is this defense going to hang its hat on? If I could just borrow a interview cliche and say, what are they going to hang their hat on?
Absolutely. It's absolutely in our tackling. Zaire Barnes and Corbin Moment are two of the most talented linebackers here. Zaire Barnes was just named to the Senior Bowl watch list, and Corbin Moment has been named to play himself, and they've both made all MAC teams 2 years in a row. They're both super talented. When I'm talking to Tim, he said that Corbin was going to be kind of, as the middle linebacker. Obviously, that's their job, back of the defense, but he's really giving him a lot of control this year. So I'm really encouraged by that. They're adjust on the fly. And Lou Esposito, our defensive coach, is really rock solid. We had one of the better defense. We had the top ranked defense in Mid-American Conference last year. So I think that's definitely where.
I have a horrible superpower of being able to freak myself out about any game. Like Michigan State could be playing Bath High School and I'd get freaked out about it. So like I'm very freaked out that yes, Western is obviously a MAC team, but like I am a little scared that okay, they got a solid defense, and not only that, but all 3 linebackers from last year are returning as well. Is that okay? Great, I see you nodding your head, and now I'm officially terrified. Obviously, like that bodes well for Western, right? Because I'd imagine that these are 3 guys that you feel really good about returning to this year's team.
Yeah, like linebacker, when you have that middle of the field secured down and you can lock up opposed, great place to start. And when you force teams to pass, that can obviously lead to mistakes. But you have to open up in a lot of offenses. So I think if it were to not be how it would happen, we would shut down the run game and maybe have to force you into a few mistakes. See that happening at any point. But yeah, I mean, having 3 linebackers with all pretty much led the team in tackles last year, and their big leadership presence is definitely an encouraging sign for the defense. I definitely am encouraged more by the defense than I am the offense.
And as the host of a daily Big Ten school show, we have to talk about the most Big Ten thing possible: kicking. Punting. How on earth are we feeling in Kalamazoo about the punting situation, the kicking situation? Let's talk the foot portion of football, Ben. Why not? What better time to do it than now?
Yeah, that's honestly a really tough place for us. We switched kickers, I think 2 or 3 times. Tiago Caps is aggressive for ever since I've been here, and he had to step in. We started with a cashier, and I think he's no longer on the team, and he was 2 for 6 on field goals last year. So kicking, I'm horrified. When I was in the booth last year, I held my breath kicking a kick. Not even an extra point was a guarantee, and that's even incredibly embarrassing. Like that's as a football team, we shouldn't be holding our breath. So. Yeah, not looking great coming into this year. I know we have a couple freshmen on the team. I don't know, but I'd like to see someone new in the position because Tiago is going to be probably our. And then our punting situation has just always been really strong. I don't know if you've seen the clips on Twitter, but he went viral for on Barstool for literally being a returner last year.
Yeah.
So. He's amazing. Great. He should. I mean, he definitely has an opportunity to pin you guys back at points of the game. Surprising to me if he got one inside the 10-yard line or inside the 5-yard line at one.
All right. Well, I feel good about the kicking portion of that. If we're holding our breath for extra points, I mean, after week 1. Yeah, after week 1, I want to see Western do well. I want to see all the in-state schools except the one in Ann Arbor do well. But for week 1, I do enjoy hearing that kicking's going to be an issue this Friday. That's very exciting for us. Surely playing in front of 75,000 people won't, rattle him or anything like that. So perfect.
Absolutely.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
at all.
No, please. It's only 75,000 people on a nationally broadcasted game. It's fine.
It's fine.
It'll be okay. Now, with that said, Ben, what is going to happen? What has to happen for all 75,000 fans of Spartan Stadium to leave stunned silent as Western Michigan rides back to Kalamazoo with a win? What is the road path to a Western Michigan victory on Friday to stun the country to kick off the season?
Yeah, but I think it starts on defense with us. That's obviously our strong suit this year. I think Lynn is obviously your guys are going to want to establish that early. That's Michigan State brand. That's Michigan State. If you guys can't punch it down our throats, then you have to go to the passing game, which isn't easy with you a lot of talent in your receiving core. So, if I think if we get you to pass and mistakes, it's going to be a game of a few mistakes, a fumble, an interception, 5, and holding you there. It's going to be things like that. They're going to be the big difference makers. You guys are just a more talented and better team up and down your roster completely. And that comes with Salopek and the offense finding their gripping and their footing really quick. Going to be interesting to see how he plays on that first drive, because I think really this offense rests on his shoulders this year. You have proven running backs, you have 2 receivers, but they're very, very, very solid options. And so I would be happy to have either of these 2 on their roster, Jalen Hall or Corey Crooms. So down to his play and how he commands that offense, and if he's slinging it early and that accurate, and it's not even going to come down to us making big shots down the field. I think we're going to have to methodically take you down. Yeah, I think those are the keys to the game. I think kicking and everything else that'll just have to come on it there. But I think that's really going to be the difference makers if that works.
And of course, no, sure, yeah. I mean, it checks out. I don't see any flaw in that game plan right there. Obviously, of course, though, easier said than done. And of course, to get you out the door, I have to ask the most stereotypical question when we do a preview show is, hey, what's your prediction? Give us your prediction right now. Friday night, 7 o'clock, Spartans, Broncos. What do you see, Ben? Tell us the script.
I think the 20-point line is really indicative of how this game's going to go. I think we all know this is I as much as I love my Broncos, I know they don't have that kind of talent. It would be amazing to see for us. I think it'll be at least a 20-25 to twice. We may get some garbage time touchdowns at the end, but I really think MS and easily.
I'll take it. Honestly, where do I sign for that right now? Because, again, I get so stressed out for these games. But, hey, this has helped learn so much more about Western Michigan. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. Where can they find you on social media, or just to reach out to you? Where can the fine folks find you and the hard work that you do at the Western Herald?
You can always visit any of the at westernherald.com. And then personally, my Twitter is Ben Epstein, 2 with 2 as Ben Epstein with 1 _. So I would appreciate any following. That would be awesome.
Bang. You got it, man. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for your time, your knowledge, your generosity of everything that you shared with us. And also, gang, for listening and for watching. Thank you so much. You already know we're going to be back tomorrow because we do this 5 days a week here on Locked On Spartans. But until then, have a great rest of the week. Let's go. Let's storm into kickoff. Love you all. Go green. Woo!